Oh, yeah, like there would have to be an easy way to introduce like betting rounds and antes and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
I'm sure it can be done.
I know enough people that would bet on and have bet on anything that they can. So there's no question that this can be converted.
Right.
I don't know why anyone's looking at me. I laid a fucking fencing bet over the Olympics, so I don't know.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Epi?
The team. Team Saber.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Damn
That's
right.
real.
Hey, and you're the one that says, yeah, we should play poker at our next game night.
I'm fine with that.
That's
why, and I assume that's why y'all wanted a low buy-in night.
Yeah, that's part of the fun. You know, no one's going to lose enough money that it, is going to hurt anyone, and everyone just has a good time.
Yeah.
Win or lose a couple of combo meals.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're having a sweat there is always fun.
That's also true. Which podcast is this? Is this our
I don't know.
bookmaking podcast that we haven't done yet?
Fairly book-ass.
Y'all heard it first. Y'all heard it first. Debuting for the start of NFL season 2025.
Actually, we might have changed the name because that might already be taken.
Fairly book-ass?
I've been on Book Talk, unfortunately, dude.
I mean, I'm also on Book Talk. Well, not anymore, but I was for a long time.
Might be talking about two different book talks.
Possibly.
Yeah.
For sure.
You got to change your settings to get to this one.
Well, luckily, you don't need a special browser to access the Fairly KickAss podcast.
I mean, it's not a terrible idea, but you don't need it.
Yeah, DuckDuckGo. If you're listening, we're open for sponsorships. Hit us up.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. You might want to use incognito mode so that no one else knows you're listening to it.
We could be like all the other content providers. NordVPN.
Oh, there you
go. NordVPN. Well, NordVPN, your NordVPN guaranteed.
I mean, you can hear us in those countries that we are not available in. Like,
that list is so long. We're going to be here for a minute to name them all.
Faceless, so let's just move on.
Yep. What are we moving on to, Dan, if I may ask? The Wildcats.
Oh my, that took me a second.
There are a couple of people that I know that listen to the show that will appreciate the hell out of that reference. I'm patting myself on the back.
So, music, listening, talking, doing.
Yeah. We did some of that in this here June of the
Show
summer
open
2025.
Show open.
In big bold letters.
Yes. That's how my script looks, at least.
Script? What did June look like for you? I have my own opinions on what went down on the album side, but Zach, how did you feel about them?
I feel like you and I are going to conflict here, and that's perfectly okay because music is subjective and all that. This was one of the most, I don't want to say worse, but one of the most lackluster months that I have encountered since we've been doing the show.
We are not going to disagree.
Whew. Like even reading like the list, because I usually get my list from Wikipedia, even just reading the list of albums, like nothing jumped out at me from that. And that's hardly ever like an indication of how good something is. Because a lot of times there are artists and albums that we just are not familiar with and end up being amazing. It happens literally every month. Did not really happen this month. There were some good things. There were some great things. But like for the most part, it was just very mid.
Yeah, very mid. For some, that was actually a welcome surprise because I did listen to some things that I expected to shit all over when I reviewed them. And that didn't happen as much as I thought it was going to. There were a couple of releases I was super excited for and wound up being quite disappointed. But I have a solid top of the list and nothing that I want to denigrate too harshly. I have a couple of words for a few albums that I didn't care for, but for the most part, I didn't hate it, but it was not a like vortex of awesome like I wanted it to be.
Agreed. Yeah.
And usually when we have a very mid or lackluster month, Dan's list is gangbusters. Is that true this time too, or are you in the doldrums as well?
Not even close. I'm right there with you. And we can go into for detail a little bit later on, but because of a massive wet Coors Light and Copenhagen juice soaked blanket, I only had 12 songs to look at this month.
Oh,
I was looking at that earlier today and was just astounded by how few songs like broke into the top 100 this
Yeah.
month, much less the top 40.
And interestingly enough, the overall radio chart was even worse, is because it seemed like things that had been sticking around or had been there forever kind of just floated, hanging over, like as they would say, like a fart in church. I don't know who says that.
I'm sure someone says it. Probably some pastor trying to connect with the youths.
Well, like I said, we'll talk about it, but there was a definite deadening effect by one particular artist, and that greatly affected what the choices I got to even make.
okay.
Yeah, I am very interested. There was one song that I heard, and I don't think it definitely didn't crack the top 40 on the Billboard side. I don't know if it did on the radio side, and I hope it did because it was really awful. And I don't want to be the only person to have heard it.
Okay.
But yeah, that more on that to come in my dishonorable mentions of albums.
I also have an honorable / mention that I hope cracked Dan's list, but I don't think it did.
Very nice. I'm excited for all three of us for this journey.
We got to have some excitement because the music didn't do it.
That's true.
You want to kick us off?
I do. I want to kick us off with the little self-experiment that I did. As we've talked about before, the fourth wall, yada, yada, yada. We write varying degrees of notes for ourselves as we do all of these shows, whether it's reviews or Billboard re-ranks or one songs, whatever. And for once, because I kind of wrote it down as a placeholder for myself and looked back at it and thought, this will be a fun challenge, I basically just wrote like one sentence and wanted to see if I could extrapolate that into an entire review. Which, to be fair, I don't think that I could articulate what this album was truly about in a musical sense with any kind of educated verbiage whatsoever. So this is going to be as good as it's going to get anyway. The sentence was, talk about XM radio watercolors and liking jazz. Also, she's an amazing guitarist. All things that are true, which I will get to in a second. But first, I'm going to tell you that the album, my number 3 album of the month, is About Ghosts by Mary Halverson. XM radio has a million billion fulfillion channels. Most of them have like the Foo Fighters on like 100% of the time, which is fine. But I recently got into the Watercolors channel, which is more jazz and jazz like sounds. Not a genre that I usually get into whatsoever, but it really has been grabbing me the last few months. Mary Halverson would absolutely fit into that channel and probably has several tracks that are in heavy rotation on that channel, if I had to guess. I noticed this album. This was not an artist I was familiar with whatsoever, just not being in the jazz scene. Spun it, and wow, it was really, really good. And to the point where I can't describe it because, again, not a jazz newbie here. I don't know any of the terminology, but just the technicality, the skill involved in all of the instruments, not just Mary, but also the other players with her. Not a lot of guitar, unfortunately, in this album, but something that I did kind of see mentioned about her again and again was just how great of a guitarist she was. And yeah, went to check out some of her actual guitar work, and sure enough, really freaking good guitarist. So definitely check some of that out on YouTube is probably the best place for that. But in the meantime, this album, even not being super guitar heavy, is just very good sounding jazz that is probably not going to land for everyone, but it absolutely landed for me this month.
Awesome. That one didn't hit my radar, so I have not listened to it. But sounds good.
It was one of those you hit play and just have no idea what you're getting into, and it's like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, we're gonna hold on this for a minute.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good.
Very cool.
How did your number 3 suit you? Did you hold on it for a little while?
Well, I did, and I had an interesting thing that occurred this month vis-a-vis my top three. And that's because I am for the first time going to lump two albums together. They had separate release dates, but I had, and for reasons, I'm going to lump them together. So I'm going to start with the baby of the bunch here, and that's Finn Wolfhard. You would know him from Stranger Things as one of the lead children in the show. You know, the tall, gangly one. He has an album. It's his debut album. It's called Happy Birthday. And it is this, like, it's a phenomenal record. It's a lo-fi gem. It builds on sort of the same indie ethos that connects him to his fellow Stranger Things alumni like Joe Keery and Maya Hawke. And while their sounds differ, they all share a commitment to crafting deeply personal music outside the shadow of their acting fame. And on Happy Birthday, Wolfhard leans into raw analog textures, stripped back production. It's an honest homespun quality, and it feels nostalgic and current. The resulting record feels more like a handmade zine than a polished studio effort. And that's part of its charm, right? It feels like something Bob Mould would have written, like early Husker Du stuff. There's a real talent on display. The guitars have no frills. It's unvarnished, bracingly simple. His vocals float somewhere between Elliott Smith's hushed melancholy and Of Montreal's theatrical oddness. He's young. He sounds really, really young, really boyish, despite being 22 and looking like he fell out of the Strokes. My favorite tracks on the record are Trailers After Dark, Every Town There's a Darling, and Choose the Latter. They show his instinct for melody and mood, and they make the debut worth celebrating. I made the point about it kind of feeling more like a handmade zine because the guy that produced this record with Finn Wolfhard is a guy named Kai Slater out of Chicago. Kai Slater is also a member of Lifeguard, who dropped their album Ripped and Torn this month. Now, this is the more polished, and by polished, I mean I feel like there's more talent in the production of Ripped and Torn than there is in Wolfhard's record. And their album Ripped and Torn is feral. It is a post-punk energy bomb. It's an exciting outfit. They've really done their work. They've looked back at all of the punk rock, pre-punk, post-punk, all of the different things that have gone through it. They've done nothing but read and watch and listen and do their homework. And they channeled all of that into this urgent, unfiltered, messy beauty of adolescence. It's a raw, electrified sound, wiry guitars, off-kilter rhythms, a palpable sense of tension. And they harness chaos and make it feel precise. The album is all sharp edges and kinetic force, but there is a sophistication underneath all that distortion. There's a lot of hints of like the slacker pop of the like 80s. They echo against their tight grooves. There's a bunch of British dance punk revival jittering here. Really what happened, Lifeguard is a band that they know their bands. They know their styles, they know their history, and they know why their sound works. But they're not vultures, and they're not revivalists. They're rather like the great art punks of the late 70s and early 80s. They rip and tear apart these sounds with surgical precision and restitch those pieces together into phenomenal 3-minute slabs of Frankenstein punk. And it's roaring, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is something to say about, I don't know if homage is the right word, but certainly understanding like this is good, and I don't want to, to blatantly rip it off, and I don't want to bastardize it, but I do want the world to know how good this is, and specifically my interpretation of how good this is. Yeah. Like that's a compliment. That's one of the highest compliments I feel like you could give someone in any sort of like artistic medium.
Yeah, I think so too. And if it is an homage, then it's a brilliant one.
Yeah.
This is their debut as well. They've had a couple of EPs come out beforehand. That's why they've gotten some press in Chicago, and not just the press in their own zine, but also, all over the place. 2 of the 3 members of Lifeguard were also Horse Girl. So
okay.
Like they're not noobs, at least not entirely, but this sound it's nothing like Horse Girl. Like it's a completely different thing that they're doing here. And I absolutely love it.
I feel like knowing a lot of people, like particularly younger folks that are very connected to like the scene, as I'm putting my air quotes on, that are in the know of up and coming bands. I feel like every single time I talk to any of them, like the band in question is from Chicago.
Yeah.
Certainly not the first time that Chicago has been synonymous with like music. I mean, there's probably a band named after it, I'm assuming. That a band that has been well documented on this show, much to someone's chagrin. But I don't know if it's just luck of the draw, but I feel like Chicago has kind of morphed into maybe the epicenter of, whether it be, I think punk and Midwestern emo are kind of the two scenes that seem to be really revolving around Chicago these days.
Yeah, and I do feel like Lifeguard knows that. Like they have
Totally
stylized the sound it's on this record. They've stylized it to feel like Chicago history. Like if you listen to, especially the stuff from the early 2000s and mid 2000s coming out of Chicago, it's sharp sound. It's garage, but it's very sharp. Actually, when I was in college years ago, the word that got used a lot with the bands out of Chicago, like Detachment Kit and those, like it was angular. The guitar sound was angular. I still, to this day, don't really know what that means, but it does work.
And yet I'm nodding with you, because it's like, for some reason, I can't describe it, but it's like, yeah, I can understand that vibe for some reason.
Yeah.
I will say I did not listen to the Lifeguard album. I did listen to a bit of the Finn Wolfhard album. It didn't grab me, and I think it didn't grab me for all the reasons that you really eloquently described that it grabbed you. So it certainly was a me problem, not a music problem. But yeah, like to be as talented and to be able to do anything like that in one game in the TV industry, and then to be able to do the same thing in the music industry, regardless of my taste, like, still hats off to,
Sure.
like you said, to Finn, to Maya, to Joe. Like, man, what a talented cast. Like, that's not fair, dude. That's
not fair. It's not fair. And that's what's fun too. Like, honestly, like, of what's been released so far, I am a fan of Maya Hawke. Out of the three of them, she'd be my pick. I like Joe. I like his voice. His last album was really cool. No Notes. Just a lot of fun, a lot of homage to older artists. But at this pace, if Finn can sort of tighten it up a little bit, he'll be the best of the three.
Gaten Matarazzo, balls in your court. That's all we're saying.
Right?
And I'll tell you what's in my court.
Is it a ball?
It was a ball. Yeah, I would say this album was a ball.
Okay.
So we talk about, like, folks who, when we talk about Lifeguard, like folks who are in the scene, folks who kind of know up and coming artists. I feel like if you maybe 10 years ago went to someone who would like start a conversation like, hey, so my brother or my sibling, my friend is really into music and really knows a lot about like musical artists, and they like X group. I feel like one of those groups that would have been in that list would have been Brockhampton. It was a hip hop collective, for lack of a better term, just a group of, I want to say there were like over a dozen of them, like at the height. They put out music under the Brockhampton label. They put out their own solo stuff. And the dude who was kind of, for all intents and purposes, the leader of this group was an artist by the name of Kevin Abstract. Put together, obviously several Brockhampton releases, put together his own albums. I feel like it was kind of a push and pull for me, specifically like pushing that group away from my listening because of how much other folks were trying to pull it towards me. Like definitely the old man shakes fist at clouds. Like, I'll listen to music on my terms, you whippersnapper. Like that vibe. 100% it was. So I absolutely had written off Brockhampton years ago. Finally, because I didn't realize that Kevin Abstract was a member of Brockhampton, I did just kind of listen to this album on a whim. The album was called Blush, and it was absolutely delightful. So apologies to all the other members of Brockhampton that there's no way I'm going to be able to name for shunning your group for so long, and apologies to Kevin as well. You can't apparently take the collective out of the artist, at least as evidenced by this release, because every track, with the exception of one single random interlude like midway through, has at least one featured artist. And I feel like I'm starting to look at that as its own skill set, as like the pairing of featured artists to main artists to overall vibe of the album, like is not an accidental thing. Like that's something that has to be curated, something that we've talked about ad nauseum on this show. When it doesn't go well, it really doesn't go well. It amplifies. But when it does, and when it's smooth, it's not a detraction from the album. It's just another facet of it. And I feel like that's what we have here. For instance, you have known quantities like Danny Brown and JPEG Mafia on different tracks. They do what they do, and they do it very well, and they did here. No surprises. But then you get tracks like the back-to-back selections, Post Breakup Beauty and 97 Jag, both dotted with the lovely voice of Love Spells, as well as Geezer, featuring sometimes on-again, off-again Brockhampton collaborator Dominic Fike. So a pretty wide range of folks here. All of them worked really well. Kevin, for his part, sounded great. There wasn't as much of him maybe as I would have preferred, just because he does have a really good flow. He does have a really good cadence specifically to his raps, to his delivery. So yeah, go listen to Kevin Abstract, and I guess so go listen to all the Brockhampton stuff so I don't have to.
Well, I'm not going to take on the second part of that, but I will take on the first part of that. I will go listen to the Kevin Abstract.
Yeah, it was. I can vividly think of one person specifically, and someone who's musical acumen as a listener and as a musician himself that I really, really respect. That tried to get me on Brockhampton years ago, and I was just like, I'll listen to it. I'm sure I'll put it on the list. And shame on me, never did.
Yeah. I mean, it happens. There's too much.
There is so much, including, my friend, your number 2.
Yeah, my number 2 record. My number 2 record comes from Britain, which should be no surprise. I tend to be a little bit of an Anglophile when it comes to stuff I listen to. It is a British duo of Katie White and Jules DeMartino, also known as the Ting Tings. They sort of burst onto the scene in roughly 2007 with their infectious, head-turningly sharp pop hooks and rebellious dance punk energy. And over the years, they've sort of explored different textures, from synth-driven grooves to indie experimentation, and it was always anchored by their knack for earworms and rhythmic punch. And with their new album, Home, the Ting Tings return to form with a matured, yet unmistakably playful sound that reminds listeners why they stood out in the first place. Home is packed with the kind of tight hooks and effortlessly catchy melodies that have long been their signature. This time around, however, their experimentation has brought them around to a decidedly unexperimental sound. They've gone toward the blues-tinged classic rock sound that was popular in the 70s. I most liken it to Fleetwood Mac, or I don't have another good example, but Fleetwood Mac is a strong similarity. The production is crisp and uncluttered, which allows simple guitar riffs and pulsing beats to shine alongside Katie's distinctive vocals. The songs on Home don't try to overcomplicate. Instead, they build their strength from clarity and charm, each track humming with the kind of effortless cool. It's a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful pop moments are the simplest, and no one crafts them quite like the Ting Tings.
I was looking at a interview trying to find where it was. Here it is, where Katie mentioned about this album, quote, "I feel like we got to the place again where we just wrote songs that we loved, songs that we just wanted to grow old writing." Like, what a fucking beautiful sentiment, dude.
Right? Yeah, and that's the sound we got. And honestly, I feel like Stevie Nicks could be singing these songs too. Like it is that wheelhouse. Like it's right there. My favorite track on that particular record is the album opener. Actually, it's Good People Do Bad Things. It's a brilliant song.
Yeah, it's we talk so much about like the experimentation and artists that are doing cool new things, and which is awesome. It's really cool, but sometimes like going the other way is also very cool, and it's nice to see that is like not only like acknowledged but celebrated in this case.
Yeah, I feel like there's this is a whole other conversation that we could have about, you know, what it feels like to live in a meta scenario where everything is post something or double something or whatever. When something is really cool and new, it doesn't have to be as perfected. when something
sure.
is classic, it is notable when it's not done well, more frequently than it is notable when it is. So in order for something that is classic or return to classic form, for that to be notable means it has to be really good. And that's what I feel like the Ting Tings did.
It was one of the first few albums of the month that I had singled out in my head that as I glanced through the list and thought, yeah, this one's definitely going on the list. Remembered it one more time yesterday and thought, shit, I forgot about this album. I got to make sure I listen to it and get it on the list. And then I forgot about it again until about, 4 minutes ago.
That sounds right.
So yeah, we'll definitely be going back, especially with that rather unexpected description of it and exciting description of it. I'll definitely be going back and giving that a spin.
Right on. Hey, what's in your honorable mentions list?
So many things. I don't know that I'm going to have time to get through all of them, so I'm just going to pick and choose a few of them. Starting with the debut, I think, album technically from Addison Rae. Better than I expected. Decent pop, decent beats. I will say the song High Fashion was actually very, very good and very enjoyable. So shout out to Addison Rae for completely subverting my expectations there. Very well done. Good album. I will skip over that album for reasons, and I will go to a couple of other things, including North Mississippi All-Stars with Still Shakin'. I just have good blues written. It's good blues. I mean, there's not really much more to say about it. It's good, and it's blues. Slick Rick, remember him? Remember that guy?
Yeah,
he made an album. It's called Victory, and it was tight as hell. I would not say it was as much as I would say it was a classic sound, a vintage sound, and just done really well. Like growing up, he was always like one of the hip hop artists specifically that I kind of clocked. Like, I don't know why this specific artist is very good at their craft yet, because I just am not old enough to ascertain that, but I know that they are. and I don't think he's missed a beat. Like it was certainly a modern take on kind of a late 80s, maybe very early 90s style, but really, really well done.
Nice.
Let's see what else I have. Jane Pacnia with Millions of Years of Longing. It's a really fun synth pop album. Does get to be a bit too much at times, which is maybe less about the me and more about the genre, but I did enjoy it. A couple of things real quick that I did not enjoy. Buck Cherry released an album called Roar Like Thunder. I made sure to listen to it too, so I could make sure that it was bad, and it was. Zero surprises there. Apologies to any Buck Cherry fans. If you are a Buck Cherry fan, this is the album that you expect it to be. If you're not, then you are not going to want to listen. Jay, I think, please don't let this be your number one album.
No, it's not.
Thank God. A couple more things to shit on real quick, including Lil Wayne with the Carter number. Who cares what number it is? Like we're past 4. Like we're done. 6 is too many, Wheezy. 6 is too many. The track, I think it's the second track, maybe or first. Welcome to the Carter. Legitimately some of the worst flow, lyrics, and beat that I've ever heard in a Lil Wayne song, including the really rough, like early shit. Like Fireman kills Welcome to the Carter. That was a terrible song. The rest of the album was not really redeemable either. And then, remember how I said that Slick Rick's sound was classic and not old? Well, Snoop's little cousin sound is old, and that is Daz Dillinger with Retaliation, Revenge, and Get Back 2, which means this is the second time he's done this. It's early 90s West Coast, and not particularly good early 90s West Coast in a vacuum, but 30 years too late. It's a terrible album. Give it a miss, unless you just want to hate yourself, while you listen to it.
Right on. I'm going to address, in my list here, I'm going to address a couple of the things that were on yours. First, I'm going to start with the Carter 6. And I wrote that it was better than I thought it would be, but it's still not good. Guest spots by Big X the Plug and Big Sean help, but there's no sense of urgency. Wayne's puns are worse than ever. Not that they were ever good, but now they just feel lazy. And the only true savior here is the production. It's pretty great with bombastic trap beats, sporadic guitars, and everything pushed right up to the line.
Yeah, you reminded me of the song Hip Hop with Big X the Plug. And Big X the Plug was great. And then I can't remember what Wayne said at the beginning. It was like a speak and spell. It was so awful.
I can't come up with it either. It was weird. I also had Buck Cherry on mine, but I actually have that on my honorable mentions as a positive thing.
Wow.
I did not hate it. There's a couple of songs where they are true to form and they suck. But to me, that record was surprisingly pretty fantastic. They're sort of filling a space that AC/DC used to fill.
I could see that, yeah.
And I feel like that it's a thing that I wanted in that moment with my loud rock, right? Like I was listening to it in the car and I wanted it to be this driving, cool, exciting, fun thing. There's nothing heavy in a Buck Cherry song. There's nothing, you have to think about. They want you to roar like thunder. There's nothing else to say about that. And I actually enjoyed the record. I haven't enjoyed them in a long time, but I did actually enjoy this record.
Nice.
Aside from a few standout tracks that did suck out loud.
Mm-hmm. Talking about sex.
That's one of them. Other songs that I was excited for, Lorde and her new album, Virgin. It's good. It's not fantastic. I will say that as individual songs, I do throw them on playlists and listen to them sporadically. But as a record, it's not fantastic. It's only okay. It is pretty beautiful, though. I also had Marina and Princess of Power on there for much the same reasons. It didn't make my top 3. A little disappointing. I expect more from her. A few of those songs are phenomenal. What is it? I almost just said cunnilingus. That ain't it.
It's a different show, I guess.
It's a play on that word, though.
I'm looking it up too.
Contissimo. That's what it is.
That's exceptional. I love that.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff on this album, but nothing that is stellar. Outside of that, Catatonia and Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State was really looking forward to this record, as I have loved their last 2 albums in their entirety. This one was meh, leaned a little too heavy on the pop for me. There was Ailstorm and the Thunderfist Chronicles. Look, we all need pirate metal in our lives.
Facts.
If you didn't know you needed pirate metal, you need to listen to pirate metal because you need it. You do. Everyone needs it. I had some lyrics pulled up and I got rid of them so that I could look up Marina. With stellar album or track titles like Killed to Death by Pirates.
I mean, it leaves nothing to the imagination. I respect that.
Listen, sometimes you just need, hold on. It says, some men are killed by gunfire. Some men are killed by swords. Some men are killed by undead minions of the zombie horde. Some men fall off buildings and splattered to a paste. Some men will shit their guts to death when poison do they taste. Explosions in the night. Your fucking ship is burning bright. Your doom comes from the sea. Killed to death by piracy. There is no notes. That is unfixable. It's perfect. And I defy you to tell me differently.
The best part about that is like just looking up that band on Wikipedia. Like the main picture of them is from the Wacken Open Air Festival back in 2023. Them on stage, 3 gigantic rubber ducks behind them.
Yep.
And it just somehow makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it totally does. I love it so much. I have listened to it a lot. I can't honestly give it like a top spot on the list because of how it's a novelty record, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't, but listen, between Killed to Death by Piracy, Banana, Frozen Piss 2,
of course,
and Mountains of the Deep, which is entirely about boobs, I give this album an A+. The only other record I want to mention is actually an EP, and it's Cat's Eye. The album or the EP is called Beautiful Chaos. I'm secretly hoping that something from this shows up on Dan's list because it's awesome. It's so bad. It's fantastic.
Amazing.
Do yourselves a favor and watch the video for Gnarly.
Ooh, I'm in. Especially if it's a video. We rarely get the video medium, so I'm excited. Good stuff, man.
Good stuff, but not the best of stuff.
Well, I will say that one of your good stuff was in fact one of my best of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I was sitting and starting to go through the list of albums and, kind of figuring out like, oh, I really like this one. I'm going to put it on the short list. Really like this one. This one's fine. I'm going to put the honorable mentions, yada, yada, yada. I queued up this album That ended up being my number one album, and almost kind of with the intention of leaving it on as sort of background, knowing that I would still be listening to it. But as I was kind of sorting out my list, it was, I needed something in my ears. And this was at least a reason or a way to get something listened to while I did the other sorting. And I realized as I was kind of 4 or 5 tracks into it that like, I didn't want to stop listening to it to start listening to the other things on the list. I wanted to keep listening to this throughout the end of it and then again. And I did. It was one of your honorable mentions, like I said, Jay. It was, in fact, Nightmares as Extensions of the Waking State by Catatonia. It was clean. It was polished. It was pleasing to the ear, which I suppose that I should come to expect that from a band who has been in the game for over 30 years perfecting that craft. The Stockholm prog metal outfit's lucky 13th album was one that I was, in fact, lucky myself to have come across. And to be fair, perhaps this was not a number one album in stronger months. And in fact, I would say for sure this would not be a number one album in stronger months. But in this particular month, I do think it absolutely fits the bill. Everything, and this might be kind of leaning towards what you were talking about, Jay, with kind of it being a little too on the pop side. That was something that, at least for my earballs at that moment, I actually appreciated. I wrote that everything is hard enough. Instrumentals, vocals, percussion, teetering somewhere between holy hell and holy shit. Wind of No Change and Departure Trails were the high points of the album for me. If you like a lot of guitar, then I would recommend literally any track except for Efter Solen. Any other track is going to give you a heavy dose of guitar, which I also love. So that was a bonus for me. Lots of solos, lots of like very 80s-esque, like just sweeping solos. Like I'm here for it, just injected into my veins. Once I finally finished the album and went back to the list and started listening to the other ones, I realized and kept thinking about this album and realized I just wanted to listen to it again. And that was the moment that I was like, yeah, I guess that means it's got to be the number one album for me. And it is.
I applaud wholeheartedly. Anytime this is a weird day for the two of us, and which you'll find out in a moment, but you've put the Loud Rock record as your number one album, and that's usually my territory.
Yes.
I went a decidedly different route this time, and I don't have any problems with the album. It was a very well put together record. I'll read you what I wrote about it in my notes.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little disappointed in this one. This is the first record without Anders Nystrom, and it shows. Don't get me wrong, Renski's vocals are amazing, but for the first time, he leans heavily on the Tool influence and left behind all of the black, death, doom influences that made their progressive approach so unique. It's still really good, but I probably won't spend a lot of time listening to it. I'm going to go back to previous records.
I had actually wondered about that because I kept seeing references to them being very doom, very black, and not hearing any of that and thinking like, was this a departure or was there a recent departure? I did read there was apparently a lot of acrimony between Anders and the rest of the band, which is not uncommon for someone departing a band or being kicked out or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I think they say they kicked him out. He says they didn't, or vice versa. I can't remember what it was. There was drama.
Yeah.
But I will say that I prefer their other work just because I'm a fan of the Black and Doom stuff. Like I love that. And they've been getting more like alternative metal, progressive art metal throughout their career. They've been going that direction. So I'm not surprised that this album came that way. I like it. It's not my favorite.
For sure. Definitely want to go back and listen to for the comparison between this and some of their earlier work dating back to 93, I think their first release.
Well, yeah. And you probably don't want to go back that far. That stuff's not amazing. I would go back to even just like 10, 15 years ago. Look at the stuff from the mid 2010s. I think they had one in 2016.
Yeah. The Fall of Hearts from 2016, Dead End Kings from 2012.
Yeah, those two albums are phenomenal. And there was, and even the last one they put out, that one in 2021 or 22.
Sky Void of Stars. Yeah.
Yep. Also brilliant.
Nice.
This one just didn't hold up to those for me.
Nice. Well, there you go, listeners. You got some extra credit homework. Go listen to the albums that Jay mentioned and Nightmares as extensions of the waking state and compare and contrast.
And 30 years worth of their material.
Yeah, show your work when you come to us, and we'll tell you how to do that at the end of the show.
Yeah, and that sharp twist of how things usually play out here. My number one album is a hip hop record.
Yes, love it.
McKinley Dixon has been steadily building a reputation as one of the most dynamic voices in hip hop. He blends literary lyricism with a deep love for jazz and fusion and Black musical traditions. He's getting known for his storytelling prowess and genre blurring approaches, and he's carved a unique lane that feels both timeless and fiercely contemporary. His new album is called Magic Alive. He's taking another bold step forward. He crafted an album that pulses with life and history and imagination, and the sound on this record is nothing short of thrilling. It is lush, jazz orchestra-infused beats, a la more recent Mac Miller stuff, and it serves as a backdrop for his incredibly vivid verses and rhythmic shapeshifting. He sort of exists in this sonic space between like the radical poetics of Kendrick and the playful experimentation of Outkast. But his voice is unmistakably his own. I would actually argue that on a few of these tracks, there's a little Lin-Manuel Miranda in there.
Oh, man.
In the way he uses his voice. His arrangements feel cinematic, the flows are razor sharp, and the production is rich with detail, turning every track into an immersive experience. It's magic. My favorite lyric on the record is, "Mama said don't mess with me or she gonna whoop your ass." I can't remember. I have to look up. I'm just full of looking stuff up today. Anyway, great record. I can't even apparently pull up the song title, so, there's that.
I did not get a chance to. I didn't even see this album. I'm not at all familiar with McKinley Dixon. I'm not familiar at all with McKinley Dixon. And it sounds like I very much need to be. Yeah,
you will love him. He's very good.
I mean, from the very moment of you equating him even a tiny bit to the late great homie Mac Miller, like that level of introspection and that level of creativity, delivery. If he's got that, even to a small degree, like it's going to be aces.
Yeah,
that is going at the very top of my "why didn't you listen to this, you stupid dumb idiot" list.
You have one of those too? I have 3.
It's so long. Well, that is, oh, shoot. The one that I didn't talk about in my honorable mentions, because I thought you were going to mention it, and this might get cut, and that's fine. But your name in our Zencaster was one of my honorable mentions. And I was like, well, that has to be his number one. So I'm not going to talk about it. But
was it really?
It was. Fallujah's album Zenitaph was technical as fuck, but accessible as fuck is what I have written down. It was a very, very good listen. So
yeah, it was incredibly technical. I just liked the concept, the word. I'm a huge nerd as well, and that's it's a gaming reference, so I went with it.
Oh, and here I thought it was from Alien. I have no idea.
That's Xenomorph. Come on,
it's
man.
It's the same thing.
Get your nerd culture together. A Zenitaph is a bodyguard for a necromancer. A Xenomorph is an alien with a mouth inside its mouth.
Bro, wow. we do need a different podcast is what I'm hearing. But before we can start to theorycraft that one, we are going to go ahead and kick it over to Dan. As he mentioned, pretty light slate this time around this month with only 12 songs. But what'd you think of them? What was the best, the worst, the in-betweens? All of them. Not all of them, but the ones you want to talk about.
I mean, for the most part, that's the other frustrating part about it, is that they were mostly hugely there.
Yeah.
They existed. They're all right. Couple standouts.
Pretty mid.
Very much so. I mean, the first thing I listened to, I wrote the absolute middest of mid. Barely just got out of dishonorable mention territory.
Sheesh.
Absolute middest of mid. That sounds like 21. That sounds like 21 Pilots to me. The absolute middest of mid.
No.
Number 50 on every Billboard rank.
Yeah. No. I may hold more hatred for that band than most but people. That's fine.
Well, I know you have at least some modicum of hatred for the bottom of your list, but let's hop
Yeah.
to closer to the top of it. See what hit you there.
Now I'll start with a quick honorable mention. And it comes from an unexpected place. It comes from Haven Madison for Castle. The 6th place finisher on season 21. Fuck, really? Season 21 of American Idol. The very Ariana sounding singer-songwriter has built a solid, emotionally open ballad that hits all the right notes for the relationship challenged pop audience, which appears to be most of this.
Most of them, yeah.
But to continue, once again, Stomp Clap plus singer-songwriter equals hit single in June, as my number 3 track follows that exact formula into some different territory. A little less honky-tonk, a little more hipster bar, as Miles Smith clocks his second UK top 10 hit with my number 3, Nice to Meet You. It's here as I'm looking at my notes about the song that I should probably peel back the curtain a little bit and explain that up until like 15 minutes ago, this was my number 2 song, and then I decided to flip my original 2 and 3. But if you thought that moment of reconsideration would also cause me to speed right down a couple of new premises to talk about, then you, my friend, have clearly never listened to this show. So instead, we'll just like pretend none of this happened, and that this and the next review are going to make me sound like a self-unaware idiot. So at least, keeping with reality there. The 4th single off his second EP, Nice to Meet You, continues momentum, the momentum that hit the worldwide smash Stargazing generated last year, a track that I was admittedly very meh on back then. But the full pop is much stronger here. It does evoke feelings of others in the genre. I kept seeing Ed Sheeran mentioned, and maybe early Sheeran for sure. I feel closer to something like Passenger or the Lumineers. More recently, Noah Kahan. But Nice to Meet You it's a tight, pleasant, simply constructed track. It hits all the hallmarks of acoustic pop, and it hits them well. Smith's voice is dynamic while still working within all the hallmarks of the genre, which vocally aren't necessarily there. But I mean, it's catchy, it's boppy. You will in fact tap your foot along. I found it kind of hard to write a ton of words about this because it's just a solid piece that gives you exactly what you want in a song like this. It does what it does it well, and in June 2025, that's good enough to make it a top 3 charting single. And that sounds like a backhanded compliment. It's honestly not meant to be. That's just kind of where we're at for this month.
Yeah, you had mentioned Noah Kahan. Like, I will say that I've heard this song a number of times, and I just never clocked like who it was or what it was called until now. But I like it. I like it a lot. It very much it very much evokes like Stick Season. Like those songs could be like like first cousins.
Yeah. It felt like lazy to keep comparing everything to Mumford & Sons, which actually a lot of this month's charting tracks could be compared to. But again, that sounds like him saying that in a negative. Not necessarily. And in that case, it wouldn't have been.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you work with what you got this month, so yeah.
Which wasn't much.
Mm-hmm.
Let's continue with our theme of songs whose relationship status is it's complicated. And I don't even know, is that even still a thing that you can put on the book twit face places?
As far as I know, I don't have any idea.
Also, Jesus, that might be the oldest thing I've ever said on the show. All that aside, I do enjoy seeing artists make the jump from one single to the next, as growth is a positive indicator, and it brings the hope that more good music could be on the way. Last year, that first single for pop country siren Dasha was Austin, which made a really good impression across the charts and opened the door for what we can presume is the next single in her is the first single in her next album cycle, but which for sure is the number 2 song of June, Not at This Party. This month has a sonic theme that can be described as very Mumford and Sons. Songs built around a simple folk rock beat kind of thing, the whole stomp clap aesthetics that was the rage for new tracks hitting the charts this month. And Not at This Party, no different. I'm still trying to work out if it's overall a positive or negative trend at the moment. But look, it works perfectly for Dasha here, who paints us a picture of someone putting up the facade of moving on while still being miles away mentally. The miles away mentally part I'm very familiar with. There are actually a lot of similarities between this song and Austin. Similar production, very similar catchy choruses, similar instrumentation. Dasha's even said that these songs live in the same universe. So we can infer this is more of like a getting another chapter in the story, which I do like if that is the case. We do get a decent amount of pop songs now telling stories, but not too many that flesh out that story over multiple songs. It does also make me look forward to the whole album whenever it comes out. And honestly, having another female voice making maneuvers towards the top of the country charts is mostly always a good thing.
Yeah, very much so.
It might be my turn to say something that could be misconstrued as negative, but not at all in this case. Like, this sounds like Kesha around a campfire. And I say that as a compliment. It's a really good sound. It's a really kind of intersection of folk and pop, but done in a really intentional way.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to roll that over. That's a really good one.
Yeah, I like that.
You said this was the second single off of her, I'm assuming, soon-to-be album, or was it released already?
I think it's the first. I don't think that's actually tied to a record yet.
Oh, gotcha.
I haven't seen one.
Yeah,
towards that smash hit record TBD.
I'll be in on it. I dig this. I dig this a lot.
But I can get the dishonorable mention out of the way. It seems to be a pretty universal read that the Carter 6 is a pretty ambitious album that consistently misses the mark, which is why my dishonorable mention's hip hop. And the only thing that keeps this song sticking any further is more tremendous work from Big X the Plug.
Like, I have to look it up now because it was, yeah, I agree. Like, I think Big X is on the chorus and does a great job. Like, if this was all Big X, like, I'd be fine with it.
You know what the problem with this song is?
What's that?
Lil Wayne's on it.
That's true.
As I might have said earlier, just to cover my ass if I forgot, again, to talk about my overall impressions of the month, that I did say that June was a rather boring month for new music, as you guys said at length as well. A couple of worthwhile songs for the most part, very meh. And there was a lot of music that was just there. And we have one of those at number 10, as Young Somber is back with another TikTok hit in Back to Friends. Billboard described this song as one of the year's best that highlights, quote, Somber's ability to channel the nostalgic 2012 Tumblr grunge aesthetic era, end quote. And every time I reread that sentence, a piece of my soul dies, and I have to go find a wall to insert my skull into to make it feel all better again. Folks, and apparently Billboard most importantly, that was not a good era of pop music. That was not a fun era of pop music. That is a year that is and should be very forgettable. If our Billboard re-rank of the year-end Hot 100 was any indication of that, which you should find if you just start scrolling backwards through the timeline on this very feed that you're listening to this show. But Back to Friends was just boring. I'm reviewing a song for June, if you remember, because I Lord knows I almost forgot. But that's mostly because that while there's energy in the song, there's not much else there. It would have floated to the middle in most other months, but the oppressive weight of Morgan Wallen prevented pretty much anything getting into the top 40 in June. Excuse me. Oh, and also, speaking of syncing, this song also takes me back to a time when artists thought it was very trendy to sing all of their lyrics into a goddamn goldfish tank. It's not.
Mm-mm.
Don't do that.
Not good. It's... I think, like, to piggyback off of what you said, Dan, this is like the loudest quiet song that I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Like, everything is hyper modulated, but it's not particularly powerful. There's not really any energy there. It's just that the gain was turned up to, why would you ever have the dial here? Why does the dial go here? It is, yeah, like you said, this is a slice of time that deserves to remain in the pie that it was in 15 years ago.
Yeah. Like, I know throwbacks are a thing, but I don't want to go through the time when we look at those early 2010s and go, this is the era we need to throw back to. Nah, bro, this ain't it.
This is not it. Somber.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what else isn't it.
Yeah, well,
I'm
actually,
assuming you're number 11.
Yeah, well, the song isn't, no. But remember how I sloppily said that this month had a Sonic theme, and it was stop clap, the stomp clap rhythm to build off of, and it was a good thing for a couple of songs. Totally works though in both directions, as evidenced by song number 11, the return of Alex Warren, bringing Jelly Roll along for the ride that is Bloodline. And when I call this track a ride, I mean the most average ride possible at the fair. The absolute median of thrills. Maybe a Ferris wheel that's just tall enough to see over like a 2-story house, and it coasts along at the speed of meh. Bloodline might have a little more instrumentation than Dasha and Miles Smith, but I'm not convinced that this "you don't have to do what your daddy did" song is much of anything interesting for them. But this exact brand of overwrought stomp and holler should and can be left back in 2010 before it was done to death. Upon further review, that song is a ballad version of, let's say, if Imagine Dragons wrote Fancy Like and it was a single from their first record.
Don't speak these things into existence.
I don't have to. That's ordinary. I would officially, though, like to revoke its spot as a top 5 song on my list for March. And that tangent is another way to say that outside of the chorus, this song just bored me to no end. Like, I can think of a dozen other songs that tell a similar story of overcoming your family history and don't try as hard to make me feel something. There is definitely something to be said about songs that have that ability to evoke certain emotions, and they do without putting out the vibe that you're supposed to feel this way about a song. Like, Bloodline is screaming at me to feel something. I think motivation, I'm not completely sure, but it's so try hard that the automatic gainsay is to reject that and gently guide this song into the empty void of empty tracks where it belongs.
I don't think I came across that tune.
I mean, you missed nothing, really.
Fair enough.
I had not heard Bloodline. I actually just listened to a snippet of it a few seconds ago, and there's at least like something there. There's at least meat on that bone compared to Ordinary, which I remember having this conversation with myself in the car like 2 weeks ago when I continued to see it like in the big hits like XM radio station. I think it might still be number 1 on the Hot 100 as we speak right now. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
It's a marshmallow of a song. I'm sure it's great in a cup of hot chocolate, but that's it.
Is it a marshmallow song, though?
If it was, it would be
It'd be
a
better.
million times better. And I'm not really a fan of marshmallow, but at least they would have some kind of character.
Actually, yeah.
One dressed up in a costume of a giant. Never mind.
Yeah, well. But again, that'd be something interesting to say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose.
And if you haven't fallen asleep listening to the bottom of this list yet, we have reached the nadir. A song released nearly 2 years ago and just now getting its chance to, quote, shine. An acoustic guitar country ballad that wants to be a Zach Bryan song so bad, but it just sounds like a cheap knockoff. It's a lot more free from Max McNown. The song just sapped all the energy I had to criticize it because it is so boring. And sure, there are plenty of places for songs with the beats per minute of Dead, but when you combine that with an average delivery and a set of lyrics that probably put Chat GPT to sleep, you are in serious trouble. Renown shot a video when the song was released more than 700 days ago of him at the Columbia River Gorge in Oregon. And seeing the reactions to that video, he said, oh, this could be a travel song. Only if your idea of traveling is falling asleep at the wheel and taking a Thelma and Louise off the side of a mountain. And that is literally about all I can say about a song that hasn't already been apathetic right out of me.
I applaud turning apathetic into a verb.
Yeah.
It's clearly, the first time it didn't want to be. It fought back. And I needed to take that again.
Not on my watch.
That's right. I'm going to break this language whether you like it or not. Damn it.
I do. I like it.
Not the song. The idea of turning apathetic into a verb.
I do love it because this is another one that I hadn't heard up until now. But like I pulled up the YouTube video for it, like scrolled through, I don't know, like 40 seconds or so. And you might have seen me like cackling to myself because the point that I got to in the song was literally just Max whistling for longer than anyone should ever whistle on a song unless it's Wind of Change by the Scorpions. That's acceptable. This is not. I mean, it was so boring.
Like I said, we talk about songs where there's nothing there, and like there is something to be said for leaving a hole. There's effect for that. Again, a slow song does not mean a bad song.
Sure.
A sparse song does not mean a bad song. But there has to be song in the song. He forgot to put the song in the song.
Who put sody pop in my sody pop?
You there will be dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour. Yes. Hello. That worked out better than I thought it would.
That was exceptional. It makes me so sad that the viewers can't see it.
I just tapped the camera and it actually looked good. Maybe the only useful thing I've done on camera the life of this show.
Oh, well, we've journeyed to the bottom, and now we have to thankfully journey back to the top, which I hope is going to be much more emotive and energetic than Max McNown was.
Yes. I mean, we definitely hit the floor. We went under the basement for a hot minute. And I suppose we can go back to the roof. Because in a wholly unimpressive month, I am rather happy that I get to pull some personal fun out of this month's list because I do get to prop up another long-running gag for us. It's the happy-sounding song that's absolutely not at all happy.
Yes.
And in this case, it's not sad. It is full of venom because the top charting single for 2025 is the first single off her upcoming Man's Best Friend. It is Sabrina Carpenter with Manchild. And in this, she just goes in on this immature ex-boyfriend that sounds like an absolute ship's anchor around her neck. It drips with sarcasm and can very easily poke giant holes in the ego of a deadbeat and still holds up the odd energy that makes Carpenter so good. And that is, like, go back to a lot of her singles, of like a lot of the short and sweet stuff. There's a different kind of pop energy there. It doesn't work for anyone else but her. But throughout the track, she sounds like she's having a ton of fun getting all this off her chest. And no doubt, this guy sounds like he really deserved this glittery browbeating that he's getting. And because it is a Jack Antonoff produced Sabrina Carpenter song, it is stupidly catchy. It has a great throwback sound. It has a sound that could give you a solid case of type 2 after a couple of listens. It is that sugary and infectiously melodic. And to be fair, a lot of people haven't liked it as much as I have. And like I said, that's fair. I can understand the criticism. This is, way too close to the short and sweet sound. It may even be a little too pander-y to a couple of different audiences. And there are a lot of discussions in that area involving empowerment and appealing to the male gaze. And the album cover, much has already been written about the album cover. But at the end of the day, the song is solid. The song is good. This song is what you expect from a Carpenter single, while carrying maybe more than the expected sharpness. That does give us another fun choice to add to the short list for Song of the Summer, if we ever remember to write that again. I'm going to lean towards probably not, but you know what? Wishful thinking.
Eventually we'll run out of content. We will have to revisit these ideas. So, Song of a Different Summer coming to a summer near you.
Man, don't tempt us.
My only, like, I like the song. I'm a fan. I do like the song. I'm with you. I don't understand why so many people dislike it. My only problem with it is that from the first notes of the song, I've already done that mashup to What a Fool Believes. The way that comes in.
Yeah. Okay.
Listen to it again. You'll hear Michael McDonald's voice.
No, I'm not going to be able to unhear that.
Yeah, I know.
Ugh,
It's my only problem with it.
it's cruel.
You're welcome.
It's like playing Last Christmas on December 1st, you monster.
I'm not suffering alone, guys. Dragging y'all to hell with me.
I love it. I love it. I heard the song for the first time because I think this song actually dropped recently. It was sometime in June. I don't think this was like a long time single or anything. But I remember hearing it and like immediately wanting to go back to hear it again and pulling up the music video. Tremendous music video, by the way. Just like a bunch of like Sabrina Carpenter with a bunch of idiots doing a bunch of like hilariously idiotic things. What is probably like 30 different outfits, like little snippets of different scenes. It's well worth the watch.
Yeah, agreed.
Very fun video, very fun song, very Sabrina Carpenter. Like this is definitely a niche that is being carved out. And when I say carved out, I mean carved out with like a battle axe, with chop after chop, just like blazing that trail for her music. And maybe you could call her a one-trick pony. I think that's a little reductive, but if she is, it's a good ass trick and it's working.
I mean, she's already not a one-trick pony. My favorite stuff of hers is like her second and third albums,
For sure.
Evolution and Singular Act. Like, the stuff's good. I enjoy it, but she's definitely not a one-trick pony.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if I had to guess, her next album is going to show an even different side of her that none of us have seen yet. And I'm excited for it, but that's getting ahead of already just trying to enjoy this track, which I do immensely.
Yeah, we'll be talking about stuff off of Man's Best Friend here the next couple months, I imagine.
Yeah.
Ooh, I found something else I wrote, shitting on a lot more free.
Let's go.
Simple. Upon first listening, what I wrote was Snore. This finishes 14th in the second semifinal at Eurovision.
Ouch. That's hard. That's hard to do. Like them in Lithuania.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Gosh.
That's probably why they don't invite us to that. Like Canada will gets an invitation. They don't want us because they know what we're going to send.
Oh, can you imagine how awful whatever we send would be? I'll tell you what's not awful, guys. and that is, as I'm looking through it, I won't spoil too much because obviously we have to do a whole episode about it in about 4 weeks. But the month of July, at least on paper, is looking a lot stronger than the month of June did. As far as the artists that are coming out with new albums, there are several that are jumping out at me. There's one in particular that will almost certainly be my number one album of the month. I would be shocked if it wasn't, although that happened last month and I was shocked. So we'll see, but at least I don't think we're going to have the same ennui, as it were, as we did this month.
That's good. I haven't actually looked at it yet because I kind of want to be surprised.
Yeah. Well, I will zip the lip and just say that I think for me it's good. I don't know if it will hit as much for you, but I hope it does. I hope we all three of us have a better month sonically than we did this month.
I'm not hopeful.
Oh no.
Because the first top 40 of the month is started out by Ordinary and then contains 7 Morgan Wallen tracks still.
Damn it. We've talked about this. America.
Guys, we had a meeting. You were all at the meeting. Yeah. I handed you the memo.
It was right there. You made doubles. I saw it.
It's in writing for a reason. What are we doing here?
Notarized and you paid good. You paid $25 to do that online, dude. And people just like crap on it. I mean, what the heck? The actual
I don't. Then why did you even accept the invite on Teams? God.
Ugh.
Killing me, Smalls.
This could be an actual conversation that at least Dan, I think probably all three of us could have at work in different, maybe Teams, a different medium for you, Jay, but probably at least a similar convo.
Well, we use Teams. I don't.
Good man.
I ignore it completely.
I think the one of the effective things, and maybe not in these exact same words, but you just use the same phrase of, dude, we had a meeting, would be equal to, it's in the syllabus.
Yeah.
Mr. Jade, do we have to do, it's in the syllabus?
I was probably that kid who tried to subvert the syllabus if at all possible.
Taking the taskmaster approach. All the information is on the card.
You just look like at the back row of the class, like, Jason Mantzoukas, why the hell are you here? And why are you destroying everything in your wake?
I was going to say, I believe he has to go back to middle school. That tracks wholeheartedly. That Jason Mantzoukas would wind up in my classroom because he had to go back to middle school.
It was like the Tasmanian Devil cartoon, just like a cloud of smoke and then everything's just destroyed behind him. It was a thing of glory.
Your time starts when the impending feeling of doom overtakes you.
Oh, damn it. I'm dead already.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, counting on my hands like 28 years ago.
Yep. On that bombshell, the important thing is, what did you think of the month of June 2025 in music? And Zach is here to tell us exactly how, that you can tell us how. You can hand us that memo. You can invite us to the Teams meeting. We probably won't show up, and I'm damn sure I'm not turning my camera on, but how exactly can you communicate?
No, I mean, listeners, we love you all. Don't get me wrong, but I am blocking my calendar for the next 80 years just to make sure that this scenario doesn't actually happen. But outside of Teams messages, Fairly KickAss at TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. You can get to all four of us. You can get there from here. It's not like the roads in Boston. You can get there from here, and it is very easy to do on the internet superhighway, as spoken by someone from the year 1997. fairlykickass@gmail.com for your email correspondence, fairlykickass.com for your website correspondence. If that's how websites work, I'm still not 100% sure. And the meat and potatoes of the Fairly Kickass podcast, where you can listen to it, is literally anywhere. You think of a place where you can get podcasts, you invent your own podcast provider. Guaranteed, we are on it already. That's how good we are. We are so good. But if you happen to invent one that we're not on, just give us a shout, let us know, and we will make sure that we get on your podcast provider of choice, regardless of if it exists today or something that is just in your head waiting to be developed for tomorrow.
Boot.
That said, boys, anything that you'd like to say to send June off in a fart in church sort of glory?
If you don't stop playing with me, my mama said she gonna whoop your ass.
Truer words have never been spoken.